Hello, everybody. Your caretaker here, along with GF, the mod.
It's
Doing
good, huh?
GF?
Pretty good yourself?
Good, good. So today's going to be a fun list to make. We're going to be doing our top 13 horror video games. They're going to be an interesting list because I consider myself to be more of a casual gamer, while yourself, I know you're the big gamer. So I don't know how similar our lists are going to look. I know mine is mostly nostalgia and stuff I've been playing since I was a little kid, while you are probably a little bit more versed on what's cool, what's popular, what's really good right now. Well, it'll be interesting to see what we got. All right. Shall you begin, or shall I, or did you want to say anything?
No, well, you can start. I just want to say that I have a couple of disclaimers, I guess. One of them is that some of these video games may not necessarily be considered as scary games, but I do consider them as horror games because they have monsters in them. And another disclaimer is that I might have a couple of controversial games that you wouldn't really normally see in somebody's favorite lists of games. And I'll explain why later that I have chosen those ones. But anyways, you can go ahead.
All right, very good. Oh, I've got kind of the same disclaimer on that first one for at least one pick on here, but I'm going to start with my number 13, and oddly enough, that is Friday the 13th, the game that we've played quite frequently online, game in which your group of people versus Friday the 13th theme, someone plays Jason, and they have to hunt down the survivors or the camp counselors. So yeah, one we've enjoyed plenty of times, one that I think we're still going to play eventually, but it's been a while, but it's one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, so it's one of those games where we keep talking about coming back to it. We never really do, but we know we want to.
So many games. Yeah.
And we played it early on when it first came out, and there was a lot of fucking, I don't know if you're supposed to swear in your show. There's a lot of glitches. There's a lot of glitches and bugs, which was somewhat interesting, kind of frustrating, but also very interesting because it kind of added a little bit of a charm to the game. Eventually, they fixed those bugs, and it was ultimately a better game. But still, it was a lot of fun though, even with the glitches.
Bugs were frustrating for sure. I remember the first time I've ever played online on that game. First time I ever played Jason online with a group of people, like strangers. Just a kind of a matchmaking thing. And I teleported near a building. I walked in, somebody whacked me with a bat, and I fell through the floor. Right down, I couldn't do anything, and I stopped playing it for a while after that.
Oh, and also just being Jason and then having to try to pick off people who were up on the roof. I remember that, when people would... that was annoying. With the harpoon, yeah, you had the best chances with the harpoon, Jason, to kill those guys, but anyways, they fixed all of that, and now it's, it's a lot better game now. Anyways, my number 13 is Fear on the PS3. I don't know if you could get it on the Xbox or not, but I quite enjoy that game. It's a lot more of it's a first person shooter game, a lot more of a shooter than it is a horror game, but it's still a lot of fun, still scary. I like it a lot because it really feels like a classic arcade game. It feels a lot more arcadey to me than anything. But with the horror elements and all that, it makes it for a pretty fun game. I had a hard time choosing between Fear 1 and Fear 2, but I think Fear 1 is on my list because it was more memorable for me anyways.
I recently picked up the first Fear. I've yet to play it. I've played the second one, a copy of it.
Yeah, Fear 2 was great too. I got stuck somewhere in the middle, and I kind of stopped playing it, but anyways.
All right, moving on to number 12. Number 12 is a game that I know is not very technically good, and I don't think it was received very well when it was released, but it's one that we've actually played plenty of times together online, solo. That's a game called Dead Island, the PS3. And it's just a cool feeling game. You're put in there and you're surrounded by zombies on like a tropical beach setting, and it's just a lot of fun, survival, and a pretty sweet story to boot.
Yeah.
Remind me again why people hated this game.
Honestly, well, there was quite a bit of bugs and glitches in the game, which could get fresh. A lot of game breaking glitches, and actually, yeah. Ultimately, you know what? Like as a single person game, it was kind of hard, kind of frustrating to play. But as a multiplayer game, it was a lot of fun, and I definitely don't have any complaints having played that game online with other friends. I don't really know where the hate is coming from, really, to be honest, other than those bugs and the glitches I was mentioning before. But that actually made my list. That made my list early on, but then I kicked it out because of another game that I'm going to be mentioning soon. Actually, you already mentioned it, Friday. That one's on my list here too, and it was between Dead Island or Friday, and I chose Friday. But anyways, my list.
Cool, yeah.
Oh, what was that?
Oh, I was just gonna say it's a fun game to just goof off on.
Yeah, for sure.
For laughs, yeah.
Yeah, I had bought Dead Island Riptide too, and that was one of those games where I always felt guilty not giving it as much attention. I played maybe 2 or 3 hours of that one. I just stopped for some odd reason, but I kind of always wanted to get back into that.
Also own
one.
Riptide. I think I had bought Riptide just to play it with you online, but we haven't really done it yet.
No.
We played a little bit, but yeah.
I wonder if we can still play it online now that the PS. No, actually, I think the PlayStation 3 network is shutting down here soon, from what I heard, or unless it's already shut down. I don't think it is, but so we might not have a chance anymore. Anyways, my number 12 is Evil Within. That one was another toss-up for me between the first and the second one, like Fear, but I chose the first one again because it was more of a memorable game, especially because of the introduction of the game. Like the first few hours of playing that game is like no other that I've played before. I've played through it multiple times, but mainly for the beginning of the game. First couple of hours where you just you're chased by this guy for a little while, and then you fall into a pool of blood, and then you have to run some more, and it was actually a lot of fun. The second one's a lot of fun too. The second one plays a little bit more like The Last of Us. It's a little bit more open world, but not really. You can make your own weapons, this and that. But I like this game because it's more of a traditional horror game. It's a little bit more linear. It's a little bit more scarier, in my opinion. So that one made my list because of that.
Yeah, that's the only one I've played. I played your copy, of course, and I've only got to play it once. But, yeah, I really love that game too. It's very cool that it's a bit of a throwback to how the old games were, in terms of you've got a save room with the lockers and stuff, and then the way that the maps are built, they're linear, but it's kind of a throwback to those old survival horrors.
Mm-hmm. And what's the song that would play when we would be in that save room? Was it like
Clair de la Lune?
Yeah, that's where I found out about that song. That's a pretty wicked song, actually.
I attempted to learn it on the piano.
Yeah.
A little bit through, but not. It's very hard to play once it gets faster.
For sure.
All right, where are we at? Number 11? All right, this one I actually own, so I'll hold it up. 11 is Bloodborne for me, with the glare.
Yeah, the glare is kind of annoying.
There it is. Just tilt it. Bloodborne. So yeah, a game that I know is beloved, low on my list, but it's a very technically sound game. It's just that I really suck at these types of games. It's a game where you go through a lot and you die a lot, and I'm just the kind of guy who just gets fucking frustrated and I'll just quit it. Mm-hmm. I actually haven't finished this game yet, but I know it's like super good game, and I love the atmosphere. The setting is really cool too.
Yeah, I love that
Lovecraft.
That Lovecraft Victorian style atmosphere. So much fun. So scary too. It's a Japanese style fighting game like Monster Hunter and those types of games. So that can be kind of tough getting into at first, but that game is made to be brutal regardless. So it's made for you to be frustrated, but you want to kind of persevere and keep fighting. Have you played it online with other people? It's because
I've not.
I suggest you do. It's a lot of fun with other people. I played it with a buddy of mine for most of the game, and it was actually quite fun. I was pretty depressed when he stopped playing it, and I was playing it by myself. I couldn't keep going after because I wanted to play with somebody else. But anyways, for me, my number 11 is Until Dawn. So this is a like a butterfly effect type of game where whatever you choose to do decides the fate of the people who are in the game, if they live or die, and the story ultimately. And it's a lot of fun because this game is essentially just a horror movie, your classic horror movie, but made into a game. And you do end up liking the characters. You do end up not wanting them to die. But in my case, all of them died. I couldn't save. I couldn't save single. Actually, I saved two of them. I was able to save two of them towards the end, but I hear it's really hard to keep people alive in this game. There is you can get a trophy where they all still are alive, but it's hard to get. But anyways, that's an awesome. If you like horror movies, and you're not that big of a gamer, I'd suggest at least giving this one a try because it's interactive and it's just like a movie, I guess.
That was my number 14. Just squeaked out.
There you go.
I've only played through it once and I got the same result. I think everyone died. I have to try to for another shot, but I like that choose your own adventure kind of feel to it. It's pretty sweet.
And it's in Canada. It's out
Canadian, yes.
I think it's Alberta or British Columbia, probably Alberta. Can't remember. But it's Canadian.
Oh, that's sweet. All right, so moving on, we're into our top 10 now. 10 is a PS1 game. I remember when we were younger. It's a dinosaur version of Resident Evil. It's Dino Crisis. Oh yeah, very Resident Evil-like in terms of gameplay and how the level progresses. Replaces zombies with dinosaurs, and that's basically what you got with that game. But hours of fun as a kid, and you can't ever forget that T-Rex busting through the window. It's a staple of the PS1.
Yeah, that's Dino Crisis?
Dino Crisis, yeah.
Did you ever play the second one? Did we ever see?
No, I don't think so.
No. Yeah, that's another one. That's another one I need to get in my collection. I have the first one. I don't have the second one. But that was a pretty fun. I don't remember much of that game because we haven't really seen it since we were a kid. I didn't play my copy yet. But yeah, that was
I haven't played it in a long time.
They were able to make dinosaurs scary, which is it's a good thing because Jurassic Park wasn't able to do that for me. So for me,
for sure,
my number. Where are we at now? 9? Or are we at 10? No, we're at 10. We're at 10. So for my number 10, I have also Bloodborne. So I guess we've already kind of went through that one. For me, I played it with somebody else, and it added a lot to the fun, and it made it slightly easier. But it's a fun game, fun theme, atmosphere. It's just all in all a great game.
I'll definitely have to try it with another person. Might help alleviate some of my frustrations.
Yeah.
If I have someone to swear at.
You can blame somebody else.
I might not take it out on my controllers. All right. Well, now we're at number 9. Is a game we recently played together online, The Forest. Oh, I consider that to be a horror. Would you?
The Forest? Yeah, I would consider that to be a horror. I didn't really think about that game, actually. It might have made it my list.
Yeah, so it's got cannibals. You're trapped on this island, either alone or with whoever you're playing with, trying to build yourselves a shelter and try to explore, maybe find survivors and supplies, and try to feed yourself well fed. And it's one of those survival games. I've never seen anything like it before. One of the first in that style, right, where you have to kind of build your shelter, feed yourself, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, exactly, and it's great because you can play it either one of two ways. You could just be like more of a gatherer, or you could be more of a hunter. You don't really necessarily need to follow the story, although it's probably a good thing if you want to get like all the cool weapons and all the equipment and stuff like that. Like me, when I played a lot of it, and some of you might have seen my streams, I was playing with the same friend that played Bloodborne with me, the Notorious STD, who's on the Solid Discord page. You can follow that. He was a lot more of a hunter, and he always wanted to go out and go in the caves and go fighting people. Me, I always wanted to just stay back and build. I just wanted to build walls. I just wanted to build the cottage. That's all I wanted to do. That's where I found the most fun out of that game. But for him, he really liked the exploring aspect, and the exploring aspect is fun too. For me, I'm more like a Minecraft type player at least for that game. But it's really well balanced in terms of all of those ways of playing that game, I guess.
And there's loads of customization. I've seen people do crazy things online. I've seen people build water slides and stuff, so it's pretty sweet.
That is wicked. You can build zip lines. You can zip line from one place to the other. It's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, that could have made it in my list if I had thought about it. I'll definitely put it in my honorable mentions. For me, number 9, this is the one game that I haven't really finished other than Bloodborne. I think, and that's Fatal Frame, first one. I don't have the second one. I don't have the third one. I only have the first one. What's great about this game is that it's the only one that's based off of a true story, and it made enough of an impact.
Oh, a true story.
Apparently. So it made enough of an impact for me to have it on my list, even though I've only played maybe about 4 hours at most, and it's on number 9 as opposed to down to number 13. It's a great game because it's so damn unsettling. You'll have ghosts just appear out of nowhere. They're just there. They're not really there to hurt you, but they're just there to scare you. And just scary ass sounds, like about as scary as as it would be in a Silent Hill game. It's like super unsettling, very claustrophobic in this mansion that you're in. I don't know if you go anywhere else. I've only played 4 hours and I was in a mansion, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. The only thing you can do to protect yourself is take pictures of ghosts. So you have to find film, and you have to take pictures of ghosts, and it's a reminder of the things that are fucking attacking you by keeping pictures of them around you, with you. But anyways, yeah, that would be that would be my number 9.
That's one. It's one that I imagine would make my list if I ever played him. Well, being honest here, you only played 4 hours. Is it because it scared you to death and you didn't want to touch it anymore?
No, because I got stuck, and I was stubborn because for some reason there are a few games where I'm too stubborn and I do not want to go look up the walkthrough or the playthrough. I want to figure it out by myself. That was one of those games where I didn't want to look it up, so I just kind of stopped playing it, and then I just never got back into playing it again. So I just got stuck somewhere, but it was during one part of the game where it was really scary, actually. That I will say.
You've never played the sequels before?
No, never.
Is the first one the most popular one, or is there like a sequel that people tend to...
The second one. Yeah, the second one is usually the one that's most popular, people like the most. It's apparently the best. Right. Yeah, so they took all the good things out of the first game and made it better with the second one. And then they apparently screwed it up with the third one, like most games.
What goes, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways.
Alright. We're on 8 now, are we?
We are at 8?
Yeah.
Yes.
So 8 is a game that I've played very little of, but it's not a long game. It's an arcade-style game, I'd say. It's one that we've never owned before because it's an Xbox game. Mm-hmm. So I've only ever played it with my buddy who has an Xbox, and that's a game called Left 4 Dead. And so basically a game where you choose a character and then you're going through maps and survive like hordes of zombies coming at you. Some special zombies that have special powers, and basically just try to get to the end of the level. So I've played both Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2. I went with Left 4 Dead, the first one, because I think I like the maps a little more. The second one's more in the city, going through buildings and offices right in the city streets. And while the first one is kind of more rural, you've got like little suburbs and you've got woods and you're walking around in the dark. So that's why I like that one a little more. The Left 4 Dead is one that I wish I'd owned. It's just a feel-good kind of... You're not thinking, you're just looking around shooting stuff, and it's a very simple game.
Yeah, I think I've only ever played the second one, and I quite enjoyed playing the second one. It's like being in a roller coaster. You just all the thrill of just getting attacked by all those freaking monsters, all those zombies of different kinds or whatever. I don't know if you can play doing the first. Can you play as the zombie in the first one, Or no? Because I know the second one you can play as the different types of zombies, and you can attack players online. But the first one, I'm
I
not
say
too sure.
yes, but I'm not sure.
That was pretty fun too. But yeah, I never owned that game too. Well, I owned the second one on Steam. I haven't really played it a whole lot, but the first one I've never played it, and I kind of always. This is one of the reasons why I wanted an Xbox is that game. But
Buddy, I remember every time I'd go over to his apartment and we'd sit down and we'd try to pick a game. I'd always go for Left 4 Dead, and he'd
Yeah.
kind of get frustrated. Like, let's play something else.
yeah, no, I love the mods that people do too with the Macho Man zombie voice, and I love that.
Dig it.
So for me,
Yeah.
my number 8, I don't have a physical copy of it. It's also Friday the 13th, like I mentioned before. Just an awesome online gameplay. It's so much of it. It's not a perfect game, like we said, but it's up on my list at number 8. It beat the other ones like Fatal Frame because of just how much fun I had with it with other people. What was your favorite Jason to play? Do you remember?
My favorite Jason was sure it was part 6.
Part 6.
Harpoon Jason.
The Harpoon Jason. That was my favorite starting off too, and then eventually I started getting more strategical with Part 1 Jason with the traps. That was my go-to Jason towards the end. And he was the fastest between all of them. But anyways, that's a great game, and I recommend it to anybody. I know a lot of people are going to say, yeah, well, Dead by Daylight's a lot better. Yeah, sure, but I've never really played that one. Although we probably should now that the Silent Hill one expansion's coming out. That might actually beat Friday, but we'll see if we ever decide to get into it.
I might give that a shot, but Friday is just one that I love the film, so playing the game for me is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's one that you might find repetitive. I don't know how much content it's been receiving since we've last played it, but it's one that you put down for a while. You say to yourself, "This is getting repetitive," and then you go back to it a few months, and it's like it's back to loving the game again.
It's a good repetitive. It's like Dynasty Warriors. It's one of those things where you don't really. Well, you do have to think a lot because you do have to try to survive Jason if you're not playing him, or if you're Jason, you do have to think about ways of killing those people. But it's still like mindless fun in the sense that it's repetitive and it's fun, no matter what. I don't know how to.
If you have a large game group, that's fantastic for a large game group where you can just get together and matchmaking is hit or miss. You got some shitty people, but if you got your own group of people playing it every once in a while, it's a great game.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to number 7. Number 7 is one you've mentioned, so maybe you can hold it up again there for me. It's The Evil Within.
Yeah. Save you the trouble.
Well, I really like it for all the things we mentioned before. Throwback aspect. The bosses are fantastic. I love fighting the bosses in that game. It's super cool. And yeah, I always remember that's the section of the game. I think it's early on where you're in the town and you're kind of sneaking around the buildings and there's.
Yep. If I remember,
great.
I'm trying to remember it. I think isn't it the guy that created Resident Evil that made this game, Shinji Mikami or something like that? I'm pretty sure that's him. I'm pretty sure that's him. I think that's who made this game.
Play that style, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like a Resident Evil 4 almost. Me for number 7, I chose. So this one's a little more controversial, but it's not because it is a game with monsters. It's Shadows of the Damned, and I believe this is a game that I keep telling you to play or to buy because it's getting up there in price for PS3 games. This is a fun-ass game. It is hilarious, and the music is made by Akira Yamaoka, same guy who makes the music for Silent Hill, so it has that feel. I was watching Metal Jesus today. He uploaded a video and he was talking about this game. He said it's kind of like a Robert Rodriguez movie, and I agree entirely because it's so. If anybody who's familiar with that director, it's so out there. A lot of dick jokes with the guns, and it's a lot of fun. I'd recommend it to anybody to play it, and it's a Suda51 game, so it's good.
Very cool. Yeah, no, I might have seen some gameplay of that one. I don't really recall, so I'll have to check that out. All right, we're at 6 now. And 6 I have. Obviously one I suspect might be on your list eventually up here, so that's this bad boy. Dead Space. So I am not one for sci-fi usually, but this is fucking terrifying. Something about the space setting. Usually I like to put myself in the character's situation and its mindset, and it's hard to do. It's in space for me, but this one is really good. So the monsters are terrifying. The jump scares are plenty, and yeah, it's one that I've gotten pretty far, and I've never finished it, and I've restarted it like 3 times, and I've always gone through the same stuff. So and I forget the scares, so it's always amusing. But,
Yeah.
I have not yet played any of the sequels for it though.
Yeah, I'm not going to say too much of what I think because it is on my list. But I will say, like, those monsters, man, it's like something out of the movie The Thing. It's just terrifying. It's just so unsettling, and those things just running after you as soon as they jump out of vents. It's not. It's fun, but it's not fun.
One of my fondest like jump scares in a video game comes from that game where you're kind of going through tunnels, I think, or whatever, the hallways, and then you got a big open space. It's near the start of the film or the game, and you're going somewhere else. And when you come back, there's one of those crawling things with the tail.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember just being on the other side of the hallway, looking at that, and thinking, "Wow, he's really slow." All of a sudden, he jumps up in the air at me like a torpedo. And I was like, "God damn!"
Man, I remember playing the demo before the first game came out. I uploaded the demo on PS3, and it was just you kind of like walking into a hall and then into a big room, and then you just kind of get attacked by all these monsters, kind of like in Doom, like the original Doom game.
I remember that demo, yeah.
I remember screaming like a fucking bitch in front of our little cousin. I just couldn't stop screaming, and he was laughing his ass off. And it was in like a battle royale kind of setting, so it's not necessarily scary, but just the monsters and just them coming from behind you and all this stuff. Just it was I could tell just from that demo it was going to be a good game. But anyways, just give me 2 seconds here. I just gotta text somebody real quick.
Oh, where are they?
All right. So for me, number 6. So this is a little controversial because it's so low on my list, and there's a reason for that. That is The Last of Us. So the reason why it's so low on my list is just because it's not really a scary game at all for me. I mean, it's more so for the story. It's kind of like The Walking Dead, but for just a different kind of story. But definitely one of my favorite games of all time on the PS3. I don't even know what to say about that game that hasn't been said. It's an awesome game, great story, and the gameplay is a little tankish, but it's still really good. You get to be stealthy if you want, or you can just be head-on, attack people, although that usually never ends up well for you. So you kind of have to. The game kind of forces you to be stealthy when you really need to be. But yeah, no, like excellent story, like I said. But yeah, just it wasn't really a scary game for me, which is why I have it so low on my list. But it has monsters in it, so I added it.
Sure, yeah. There's no question that it's a horror game. It'll hit people in different ways for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Last of Us, yeah. So have you played the PS4 remaster? I wonder if there's any difference.
I have not.
Got it, but I haven't played it. There's a sequel recently released with, I don't know, I've heard good things and bad things.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll have to make my own opinion on that once I start playing it. I do plan on picking it up, so I will be playing it here soon, hopefully. Next paycheck.
All right, so my next pick, we're at number 5. 5 is a game you own that I played your copy of. You mentioned it's the first one earlier. I'm talking about Fear 2, Project Origin. It's a game. It's hard to describe that game.
It is.
You got dude who, and I don't know if he's like a secret soldier or whatever it is, and he's shooting up on guys, and then one part of the game you start seeing different monsters, and one monster in particular I remember he always put you in kind of like a dream state where everything is super bright and weird. And, the guy freaked me out. Yeah, this is one that I did finish actually. I got all the way up to the end, and yeah, such a satisfying game. A great ending I find too. It sets it up for another game.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, we played Fear 3 a little bit, I think.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Or we did?
I thought it was with you. It might not have been with you, but I played a little bit of that. I think that first section is in like a prison, so I've played that a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of lost the feel.
Yeah, Fear 2 is the only one in the series that I wasn't able to finish. I got stuck somewhere in the middle, and I stopped picking it up. You're gonna hear me say that a lot, or you have heard me say that a lot. Fear 3 I have finished, and I finished it with another friend, the Notorious STD again. It's an okay game. It's not. It doesn't hold a candle compared to the first and second one, in my opinion. What's great about it, though, but what's not great about it, though, is that there's a friendly competition between you and the person that you're playing with, where like whoever does better towards the end of every mission, Alma, your mother, is going to decide who's her favorite child for that mission. And if you're the guy that has the superpowers, which was the Notorious STD, you're going to be the favorite son all the time. I think I was the favorite son maybe once, and I was just the guy with the gun, but he was the guy with the superpowers, and it's kind of not fair. I think it's kind of bullshit. But anyways, yeah. So you're probably better off just not finishing that one. But if you do want to finish it, I'd recommend it. Play multiplayer. So for me, where are we at? Number 5?
5.
For me, so this is one of my more nostalgic games. So this is Medieval. I could have picked this one or the PS1 version. It doesn't really matter. It's both the same to me, really. Well, it is both the same, other than the graphics. It plays exactly the same. Except this one actually had a couple of bugs that I noticed that the original PS1 game didn't have. But this game, also not scary, but it's very nostalgic, has monsters in it, and it's the most classic Halloween game, really, that I think I've ever played. You got zombies and mummies and Jesus, what else? Just everything. You get to fight ants at one point in an anthill, and you have to save fairies in the anthill for whatever reason.
It's a random section of the game there.
Yeah, but it's just an awesome game. I know a lot of people who've picked up that game who's never played the PS1 game don't appreciate it like we do when we were kids playing it back on the PS1. I mean, the controls are definitely outdated, and I'm a little surprised that they didn't change the controls in the remake. But if you get past the controls, it's a great game. But
sure. Yeah. So I'm gonna go right into my number 4 because it's the same one. Medieval. Yeah. And fantastic upgrade. I'll actually pick this one over the PS1 just because of how fantastic I think it looks. It's the same exact game, but the graphics on there, I love it. And it's nostalgia right there. It's the first PS1 game I remember ever playing, actually. So the demo of it, at least, that was before we even got a PS1. That was a cousin's copy. And I love Halloweeny settings, and this has graveyards, pumpkin patches, insane asylums, ghost ship. Go wrong with it. Just the setting in this game for sure.
How many times do you think you've beaten that game? I can probably say I beat that game maybe 8 or 9 times in my lifetime.
Oh, me too. Yeah. So you can finish it in a day. Like it's.
But the added stuff.
You got nothing to do today.
Yeah, but the added stuff in the PS4 version, where if you want to get trophies, you get to do some extra things, which is kind of cool. Just adds a little bit extra gameplay.
Some side missions.
Yeah.
The lost souls. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And what it does is it forces you it forces you to replay those previous levels. But
No, exactly.
and once you've beaten the remaster, you've got the option to play the old game on there too. So that's pretty sweet.
I didn't get all the trophies, so I don't know if I have. Do you need all the trophies to play the original one?
I think you just need to have finished it once. I
Oh.
think. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I'm at 99% with the trophies. I'm missing one mission, one trophy there. So for my number 4 is going to be one that's going to surprise you, Sly, but I have a reason why I chose it. So it's a Silent Hill game, but we decided to go with one per franchise. If I would have chosen Silent Hill 1, then that would have been tied with my other number 1 game. So I decided to go with another Silent Hill game, which to me I thought was the scariest out of the series. So it's not necessarily the best Silent Hill game that I think. I think the first one is. Second one is a close second. I know for a lot of people it's switched where they think the second one's the best one. The first one is a close second. And this game is actually not liked by a lot of Silent Hill fans, and I love it. And I loved watching you play it back in the day too. But this is, for me, by far the most scary Silent Hill game in my opinion, and that's Silent Hill 4: The Room. Something about, first of all, leaving your apartment, getting attacked by these ghosts and these monsters, these giant babies that have 2 giant arms and 2 heads next to each other, whispering as they point at you. The scary first boss, she looked like the Grudge lady, like with the long hair. She was just crawling after you. You had some of the scariest boss fights, and it just the fact that once you're leaving that world where you're getting attacked by all these things and you're going back to your apartment, it's not you're not even safe then, because ghosts and weird things start to happen in your apartment. So you just feel unsettled wherever you are. And you need to find candles in order to keep the things away in your apartment. It's just so
Very unsettling.
very very unsettling. It's definitely the Silent Hill game that made me that left a bad seed in my brain more so than all the other games when it comes to like how scary it was.
It's a haunting game. It's a very different aesthetic from every other game in the franchise. That's why some people have canned it. But if you haven't played it, you have to give her a shot, man. It's terrifying.
It's not your traditional Silent Hill game like most Silent Hill games are these days, but it's definitely like a really good game. I don't know why it got as much hate as it did, or people don't like it as much.
I may have had nightmares of that game. The ghosts especially coming out of the walls. So yeah.
Yeah,
Classic. That's your Silent Hill pick, eh?
that is.
Well, all right. Very good. So we're at 3 now. Number 3 is going to be my Resident Evil pick for this list. And I went back and forth. We played the hell out of Resident Evil 3 growing up, but in terms of better game, I have to give it to Resident Evil 2. That's my Resident Evil pick. And I do have the remake. I do enjoy the remake, but I just remember playing for this days and days, just doing the different scenarios. Though the graphics is fantastic, but in this remake, I find that a lot of the enjoyment that I get out of it is going through the police department. As soon as you clear from there and go into the sewers and into the lab, you kind of lose me there. It's not as interesting for me, but I just remember loving this one from the start in the city, through the police, through the labs. I remember enjoying every second of that one, but I'd have to play it again just to confirm that I find that this one's better than this one. But yeah, for Resident Evil 2, in which you have 2 characters you can choose from, a female and a male character, and you're just playing different scenarios. There's 2 scenarios you can play with each character, and fantastic enemies, fantastic bosses, and just claustrophobic. Many times you feel like you're in the hallway and you're surrounded. It's just a great time.
Yeah, no, exactly. I would have a hard time deciding between the original or the remake. What I love what Capcom did with the remake on the PS2 is that I don't know how I feel about it because it feels nostalgic, but at the same time, it feels like a brand new experience. It's like one of those things where you don't know how you feel about it, but you're having fun no matter what. It's just like, man, these look so familiar. This looks familiar, but at the same time, it doesn't look like anything I remember. And it feels like I don't know how to explain it, but it's a fun time. I quite enjoy. I didn't finish the remake, unfortunately, but from what I've played, it was a lot of fun. Where are we at? 3?
Yep. I'm not usually a trophy hunter, but this one I'm trying to get everything done on it. So.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, for this game is definitely near and dear to my heart. It's kind of like a staple for me in terms of like the years I played before it and then the years I played after it. There's always going to be that game in between, and that would be BioShock on the PS3. I remember BioShock only coming out on the Xbox back in the day and being super jealous because I remember seeing the trailer for it, the very first trailer. I didn't know what the frig it was about, but I was really intrigued and I wanted to play it. Eventually, it came out on the PS3 and I bought it almost immediately. And holy shit, what an experience. Also, not really, I don't really, it's not really that scary of a game. But just the mechanics and the gameplay, this definitely beats Last of Us for me in terms of gameplay. You can play it time and time and again because the game itself is actually fun. The Last of Us, the game is fun, but if you're replaying it, you're replaying for the story, and you can hear the story. You don't really need to play the whole game to experience the story time and time again. You can just read it again if you wanted to, or you can just watch somebody play it. But if you want to actually experience the gameplay itself, this is an awesome game. You get to fight big daddies. You get to, you have plasmids where you can use, which are kind of like superpowers. You can use electricity, fire. You can shoot bees out of your hand if you want. And then there's a whole bunch of guns you can use as well. I don't really know how to get into this game. How to explain it. It's just an awesome game. And I've played this one maybe 3 or 4 times through, and I got the free version on PSN Plus, and I played it and beat it again, got all the trophies.
How long does that take?
It took a little while. Actually, I had to backtrack and do other stuff. But
this is one I've seen you play to death, but I've never played it myself.
Yeah, it's one of those.
I did pick up that PSN one.
It's one of those games where I would get a tattoo of that game. That one and Silent Hill for sure.
Cool. All right, my number 2 is gonna be my Silent Hill pick. Which one do you think it is?
It's probably gonna be the first one.
Wrong.
Oh, second one?
It is the second one.
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2 is my favorite, although I do the Silent Hill, the first one is a very close second. The difference being that Silent Hill got the same feeling throughout of kind of dread and what's to come. This one, Silent Hill 2, goes through every single emotion. You feel scared of what's to come. You feel relieved once you're out of the nightmare world. You feel sad once you go through the story because it's a very tragic story. And depending, all endings are satisfying to me. It's just a fantastic game. It's one I can play over and over again and never feel like it's being repetitive because it's just story is just so great. And Silent Hill 2 is my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Silent Hill 2, what an experience. It's one of those games where, man, Konami's going to have a hard time matching the success from the second one. Just everything about it, like you said.
Yeah. Sure, it's never going to be the same. Although PT would have been a different experience altogether. It would have been a great game, but I don't think it would have been the same kind of experience as this for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's definitely my second favorite game, but I didn't find it as scary as the fourth one, which is why I put the fourth one in there. It's definitely a must-have if you're a big PS2 fan, collector. So for me, it's the game that you mentioned earlier, a little bit lower on your list, but for me is Dead Space. And so I guess what I like about it, one, is that you don't know who the character is really. You know, what's his name? Isaac. You know that his name is Isaac, but you never hear him talk. And it's funny because the less, you get to know the character, in a sense, it's better because you start to relate to that character more as him being you, being stuck in this world. And it's extremely isolating, extremely terrifying. It has the perfect blend of gameplay and horror in it, and it really makes me sad that they stopped making these games, to be honest. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. It's just an awesome game, very scary game. I think I told that to you where it kind of gets predictable. I thought like maybe around 50% of the gameplay I was terrified all the time, and then the other half of the game I could kind of start predicting where the jump scares are going to come out of. But it doesn't.
There's an entry to a vent. You know something's coming out of it.
Exactly. But there's still those moments where a baby's going to attack you, and you have no idea where it's coming from, and it doesn't undermine the game by any means. If you even if you start, for me, even if I started predicting the game later on, it doesn't. The gameplay itself is still so much fun. Yeah, that would be my number 2.
2, very good. Oh, before we go into our number 1s, I was thinking maybe we could list off some games that may have made your list if you'd ever played it before. And so, is there any games you suspect that might make your list, you just never had the chance to play it before?
Well, I guess number 1 would be The Forest, because I haven't really considered it. There's a lot of games I still haven't considered. Another one, I got a couple ones here. Eternal Darkness on the GameCube. I played a little bit of that. Stopped early, not because I didn't like it, but because I had other games I wanted to play. And that's an awesome game for anybody who enjoys random things to happen. It will turn off the GameCube on you. It will turn down the volume all of a sudden, depending on like how crazy your character gets. Another one would be Haunting Ground. A game that I haven't really played, and I've kind of always, it's in the backlog. Another one would be Ghost Hunter. Siren, I played a little bit of that one. Very, very, very hard game to get into just because it's hard. It's hard to play. Very tanky controls. But I'd like to get into that one a little bit more. And finally, Alien Isolation, because of the same reasons as Dead Space. It's apparently a really isolating experience, terrifying experience. You got the alien coming in from the vents, like in Dead Space. So I'd like to try to get into that one a little bit more too.
Alien Isolation is one that I had on my mind too. I haven't heard all good things about that game, so it's one that I'm trying.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned Fatal Frame. I've never played. I'm sure that's my style for sure. If I ever played it, it would have been on my list. A lot of the new VR games too. There's a new Walking Dead VR game that looks absolutely amazing.
I didn't know.
Try that one day.
A Walking Dead VR.
All right. It's a Walking Dead VR, and it looks really, really cool.
I didn't hear that. Cool.
Yep. Forget what it's called. Let me find it real quick for you. It's one where you really benefit from it if you have like the full VR setup with the hands and everything. There's a lot of gameplay of it online. A group that I follow, it's called The Walking Dead. I think it's this one, Saints and Sinners. Is that one? Let's be that one. Anyway, it looks freaking amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, moving on to my number 1 that you've been bashing throughout this whole freaking video.
Which was Al.
Last of Us is my favorite, but you were mentioning story. That's why I love this.
Yeah.
That I can play over and over again, just because I love revisiting the story of it. And the levels are linear, but you can play different styles if you want. I like switching it up, playing stealthy one playthrough, then just going balls out to the wall, freaking shoot everything in sight kind of playthrough. So it's just one that I love the settings of it. Every level is different. You've got like the rural area, you've got the city settings, and that's what I love about it. It's that different ways to play, the different settings, and the different opportunities it gives you to play it however you want to play it. So it's The Last of Us. I can't wait to play the second one. It'll be hard to beat this one for me. I'm looking forward to trying it too.
Yeah, for sure. It depends on what kind of it depends on what you feel like playing too. If you feel like playing something that's a lot more gameplay oriented, I mean, you can look at one thing, but if you're really, really, really into like the story, if you really want to play a game for the story, then definitely The Last of Us. It's not to say that The Last of Us doesn't play good either. It does play really good. It's just, I don't know. It's, I don't know. It's a little tanky in my opinion, but it's still an awesome game.
You mentioned this game wasn't very scary. Well, it scares the crap out of me. It scares people who are not very good at playing the game, I think. Because when you've got that clicking thing coming at you and you're shooting and it's not doing anything and he can kill you in one shot, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, that's true. So for me, it would be... So for my number one, it is Resident Evil 4. It's not Resident Evil 2, it's not Resident Evil 3, it's certainly not 5 and 6, although I didn't mind the fifth one as much as other people. Resident Evil 4 because other than Medieval, it's probably the most played horror game that I have. It's just almost like Dead Space. It's a great blend of gameplay and as well as horror. I didn't find it as scary as Dead Space, but it's still, there's certain parts of the game that are pretty scary, especially at the beginning of the game when you're stuck in that little village. And you got a horde of people running after you. But it's a great game, and I think probably most people have played this game. Honestly, it's I wouldn't say it's the game that put Resident Evil on the map. They did that with the very first one, but it's the game that introduced new people to the franchise because it played differently than the other games. It started off with like the over the shoulder, and it's a lot more gunplay than the over the shoulder camera. Camera angle, and it's a lot more gunplay than your traditional survival horror games from the original games. But I played this game to death. I played it enough times that I was able to unlock all of the guns, including the red rocket launcher. Yeah, exactly. And this was before trophies too. I just played it because I wanted to unlock the game, the guns, not necessarily, and because the game was fun. But anyways, I'm rambling on here.
Yeah, very fantastic game, and it's crazy how much support it got, despite how different it was to its predecessors.
Yeah.
One through all the ones that came before. 4 is your typical survival horror game. This one got the not first person, but over the shoulder. Got the whole aesthetic of it too, like the models and everything. It's kind of an anime look to it. I find super different from the pixelated from before.
Yeah, I remember hating this game before I even played it when it first came out. Wait, there's no zombies in here? What? I'm not playing this stupid game. There's no zombies. And
yeah.
But yeah, to my surprise, it's an awesome game. Quite enjoyed it. And also, there's a long part of the game where it's just like a rescue mission where you have to rescue the president's daughter. And for a lot of people, it sucks when you have to bring a CP character with you everywhere because they can be really stupid. But this one, like the AI of the character was fine. Actually, it was not a bad experience at all.
I think that's the most I hear people bitch about that game is the president's daughter.
Yeah.
I don't know why. She's just loud, I guess.
It's kind of a ridiculous mission. You go rescue the president's daughter. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
But anyways,
this is one I've heard people wish they'd start doing a remake for. Would you be on that remake train, or are you one that thinks that copy of it is just fine?
Absolutely. Capcom has done such great things with the Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3. From what I saw, I haven't played it yet. I would be really... Actually, you know what? They've been making remakes like for a long time. Resident Evil 1 and 2 and 3 on the GameCube, on the DS, I think there was one. And they've always done a really good job with making remakes. So, and Resident Evil 2 and 3 on the PS4, for example, just excellent, excellent remakes. So I would really be, I would, they would have my money if they made the fourth one for sure.
Perfect. All right. Well, that's the just about the end there. So that's another episode of Friday, the top 13 with GF, myself, the caretaker, Sly, and in the next couple of weeks I'll be posting another list, and that list will be my top 13 films of 1960, the year 1960. I'll let you go. Is there any films from that year that come to mind for you?
From the 1950s?
1960.
60s. When did Halloween come out? Was that 1969 or 79?
78.
What's 1968?
78.
Oh, 78. Okay, you're freezing. I don't know. Black Christmas, I guess, would be one of them. Would that be in the 60s? No.
70s as well.
I don't know.
I'm just doing the years 1960, not the 60s. But that year.
Oh, I see.
So,
I look
through
forward.
the list, and so thanks for joining me today. And if ever you want to join in again, let me know. And or anybody else who's watching, want to be a part of this, then let me know, and it'd be no problem to have you join.
Sweet. I look forward to watching your video while I'm sitting on the toilet.
As you do.
As I do. All right. Have a good one.
I look forward to have you nod in agreement as you wipe yourself. All right, guys, have a good one.
See you later.